To finish off the roll cage, I need to determine the height of the harness bar, and that's done by making sure it's level with your shoulders, although it can be a few degrees off. Now the aluminum frame of this car is pretty well built for 10 horsepower, but not for 180. That's why I'm adding this roll cage in, to hopefully prevent the chassis from splitting in half if I ever have to do any jumps or off-roading. Now I'm getting ready to do the X cross brace. The harness bar just fits in the perfect spot. I'm using 065 wall chromoly and making sure all these joints fit up nice and tight. They're nice and clean and sanded before I ever get to welding it. So I'm super happy with how the chromoly is welding out. I'm gonna finish welding up some of these seams, and then I'm gonna add a brace that goes from the roll cage to this clamp. I need to make sure that I could still remove these bolts right here. And then also off that bar, I'm gonna have another bar tying into these strut mounts right here. And then after that, we can make a second mount for the roll cage into that frame rail. Go ahead and chop this bar off. It kind of does nothing, and it's gonna block the air box. We gotta go ahead and take the engine out and do all this welding. Yeah, we got about a whole day's worth of welding, and I'm probably not even gonna show that. We'll see. So I decided that for the sake of aesthetics, we're gonna be cutting up these frame rails and mounting the engine to the steel instead of the aluminum, because it's just more reliable, right? That leaves a hole here, and what I'm actually gonna do is just cut these and fill them up like that. This might look extremely uncomfortable, but at this point in time, I found my inner peace. Laying on a subframe that I built myself and welding some aluminum frame rails. Jeez. Inner peace. A lot of you in the comments have been helping me trying to figure out a name for this thing. And I think the one that resonates with me the most is the Cyber Wedge. When I first bought this car in episode 1, my whole intention was to make a fast, practical car that can slay supercars. Even though I didn't really mention it too much, but you know, now that I start working on this thing and realize this has the potential to be something great. I mean, aluminum frame, something you find on only exclusively to supercars, and you have just this iconic cyber body. You just don't see this on the road anymore. So some of you might think I'm crazy, but I do plan on daily driving this when I'm finished with this thing. I already got it registered, so all I got to do now is finish it. Definitely see myself adding some sort of crash bars and crash protection to this thing, as well as heat, radio, full cooling system, and eventually I would like to get a streetable 300 horsepower. And I've recently picked up a new sponsor to help me on that. For those of you that are wondering why it's taking so long, these things just take time. And the downside with YouTube builds is that people kind of just dip out after about episode 3 or 4. To be a relevant YouTuber nowadays, you gotta start on average about 5 to 10 builds a month. I do about 0.5 right now. So that's why I'll be bringing new content in between these episodes, which is going to take the hit on the progress of this car, but it has to be done. I really want this thing to not be a dedicated drag car. I don't want it to be a dedicated track car, and I don't want it to be an off-road car. I want it to do everything all in one. Which is a lot to ask for this price point that I'm building. Insanely cheap. Well, realistically, it's not that cheap, but it is cheap when you compare it to supercars. A lot of you guys wanted to see me build a race car, and I guess we're building race cars now. Just a tiny bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and TIG weld these engine mounts while the engine is out. I don't know if it's the best idea to mount this thing into the roll cage and have everything so compact, but it's our only choice for a nice and strong engine. Now, a lot of people forget that these Hayabusa engines are counterbalanced, so they're not going to really vibrate as much. The fact is that we have aluminum frames, so that's going to really dampen a lot of the vibrations out, I think. Alright, so we got the engine remounted for like the 3rd time. Alright guys, so our Kirky seats look really nice in here. Now the reason why I'm going with these, and I'm kind of doing away with the stock interior, the stock seats I mean, is because these are very thin. I'll have a much lower seating position, and also having a roll cage is kind of dangerous without harnesses. So hence the seats. Now this car will still be perfectly daily drivable, in my opinion. As you can see guys, it's pretty tight in here, but the seats do fit. So this is our steering shaft right here, and these are parts from like 4 different websites. We got our Motion Raceworks quick release right here. Very expensive, very pricey. So yeah, this should just bolt on right there, and then we have these aluminum collars. We'll weld it into the frame. I'm gonna be messing with the steering placement in the next episode. I gotta get these seats mounted first. Fingers crossed I'll have this thing running in the next episode. No promises though. I am kind of cutting this video short because I had a minor road rash incident, which I'll talk about in some future episode probably. But with that being said guys, hope y'all enjoy. Drop a like down below. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned. Peace. God bless.